Hello and welcome to whatever this is going to wind up being. So, this is the first video for the 2024 spring section of the Capstone course for biology. My name is Jonathan Samir Mathis. I'm a professor of biology. I study human movement, neuroscience, and things like that. We'll talk about that later. And I'm going to be the professor of this particular section. And we're going to get pretty weird with it. So buckle up and please be patient, and hopefully we can have some fun with it. So this video is going to have three parts. Part A is going to be talking about the course itself. Part B is going to be talking about like the activities that we're going to be doing, like these kind of assignment stuff, including like the Capstone project itself. And then part C is going to be like the first kind of like assignment type object. So first question is, what is Capstone? So the idea, so let me just bust this open. Three, two, one. So the, okay, 3, 2, 1. So this is a capstone course. And so the first question you might ask is, what does that really mean? So capstone, many schools call it things like senior thesis and things like that, is intended to be kind of like a large project that you do at the end of your undergraduate career, and kind of is like, it puts a cap on the stone. It sort of is meant to be kind of like a culmination of your undergraduate experience and an opportunity for you to kind of showcase what you've learned, showcase the sort of technical skills that you've learned about how to be an academic person exploring an intellectual space, as well as showcase your ability to understand your own interests and to understand the parts of the world that you have chosen to care about and to learn more about, and the parts that you may at some point in your life seek to explore more deeply than anybody else has, or whatever that might wind up looking for you. I don't know who you are. I don't know what your future holds. I don't know what aspirations and dreams you might have, but whatever those might be, whatever areas that you found to be of interest, whatever futures you might hold for yourself, this is an opportunity to kind of explore those and think about what it would be like to sort of actually do substantive work towards that goal in the context of the world at large. There's a sort of general idea, like, at least there's a general idea, and like I've one I'm trying to sort of embody here, of this course being kind of like a transitional stage between the kind of education that you get as a student, where things are prescribed and defined, and you're going to get dumb stuff like grades and things like that, and the kind of work that happens in reality, where you're not necessarily on your own, but you're not a part of a structured activity. You're pursuing interest and seeking knowledge that maybe people don't have. Maybe, you start asking questions that bump up against the edge of all the things that we know as a whole. And this is going to be kind of a microcosm of what that type of pursuit might look like. Yeah, and we'll go into more of the structure of what the actual Capstone project is, but high level, it's going to be something like a paper. That's not all it's going to be, but there's going to be an output at the end, some artifact that will be like the thing itself, and that will be your capstone. There will be a tremendous amount of flexibility in what that actually looks like for you, you as an individual, plus you collectively as a group of students, you and y'all, perhaps you might say. And a lot of that will be kind of unfolding. High level, the basic structure. 1 second. Yeah. Okay, 3, 2, 1. I'm doing this like I'm actually going to edit this. I may or may not. We'll see. Okay, 3, 2, 1. So the overall structure of the course is going to be centered around two main sort of technological elements that are going to assist us in this exchange of educational experiences, I suppose. This is an online asynchronous course, which is challenging to teach because it's a very removed way of teaching. And historically, this traditional way of doing this is to put a bunch of stuff on Canvas, have a bunch of activities, kind of monitor things asynchronously, and sort of operate that way. It's a good way to teach. I understand when people do it. I am going to try something a little bit different and utilize a lot of technologies and techniques that I've developed as a course over the course of the past, whatever, how long I've been alive, but especially over the course of the past 4 to 5 years, where I have been teaching, running a research lab, largely through Discord, asynchronously online through webcams and messages and things like that. We're going to be using a Discord server to manage a lot of this course. There will still be the Canvas page for the class, and we're going to be handling some of the assignments through there. But often the assignments on Canvas will kind of just be pointing you towards something in Discord. I'm going to be using it largely for bookkeeping, and to make sure that there's sort of like an official aspect of this course rather than running it all through Discord. Bless his heart. And I'll give you a brief tour of that in a second. And I also want to mention another important aspect, technological component of this course is going to be the bot. The bot is a little AI bot that I coded up, which we will talk plenty about. The bot is, let's back up a bit. Almost a year ago now, roughly like late spring of last year, a very important thing happened that I'm sure you've heard about, which is that GPT-4 was dropped and became a thing, a technology that was available to every human on the planet, more or less. And so my degree, my PhD is in cognitive science. I study neuroscience and computational neuroscience. I study mostly human movement, but I used to study language. AI is a big deal. Not GPT-4 specifically, although that is like kind of the first like real big one. But just the whole concept of large language models reaching the level of capabilities that they've reached is hard. It's hard to understate how important I think this technology is going to be for the world going forward, for the future of how we interact with each other over technology, and the way that we interact with our own intellectual endeavors. And most importantly, it's going to, I think, the current and future stages of large language models and language AI-based technology is going to fundamentally change our relationship with language. And I don't know exactly what that's going to mean. Nobody does. But I do know that the way that we interact with language historically, in terms of like writing stuff with the keyboard, it's just going to change at a fundamental level. And I have been personally diving very deeply into these spaces, and learning a lot about how AI works and how to use it effectively as a tool for my own research, as well as like managing a lab. I run a big open source project, and as this is now going to be my third class using an AI powered bot to meaningfully affect the way that I interact with students and the way they interact with classes and teaching in general. And I hope that you're on board for exploring the potentials of this type of technology. It's complex, controversial, and nuanced and layered, and all of these things have space for opinion to grow. And if you have things you would like to, if you feel uncomfortable about anything, I guess, come talk to me, or I guess send me a message. I don't know. Moving on. So yeah, so let's do a quick survey. We're gonna split this up. We're gonna come back to it. No, let's go to the server. Okay. Actually, pause. Okay, so this is the Discord server. You've all probably, I think you've all made it in here at this point. Oh shit. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is the Discord server. I believe that you have all mostly made it in here. If there's any stragglers, I'll send a message so that make sure people can make it in. I don't know how. So basically, Discord is it's a chat server. It is similar to Slack if you've used that, and it historically was originally made for like video gamers and sort of like gamers to like interact with each other, and it kind of exploded over the course of the pandemic because people came to it as a way to sort of like interact with each other remotely, online and asynchronously. It's basically a bunch of chat rooms if you're not familiar with that kind of thing. And yeah, so you click on them here and then you type into them there. And okay, anyways. Unbelievable. Why doesn't it fucking work? I changed my mind. Before we go to the server and look at that, let's talk a little bit more about the course philosophy. So my approach to teaching is often 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I changed my mind. Let's talk about a little more about the 3, 2, 1. I changed my mind. Let's talk more about the course philosophy before we go into the nitty-gritty of the actual server. So this course is going to be taking an approach that I have been told is called formative pedagogy. And so the idea is that rather than sort of the traditional approach to teaching where you show up with kind of like a curriculum and like a syllabus that's sort of like pretty rigidly defined, we're going to do this, that, and the other things. Formative pedagogy is the idea that like you kind of build the ship while you're sailing it. And I am less showing up with a rigid set of plans and more showing up with a recipe that we are going to be concocting ourselves. And basically we're going to be like discovering what this class is as it unfolds. And that's somewhat by necessity because I have never taught a class like this before. It is not likely that many people have ever taught a class like this before. This is exploratory and experimental. This is now my third time using an AI bot to help me run a class. And it has always gone quite well in the past, and this is going to be a new phase of it, and we're going to sort of be exploring what that means together as a group. Now, that is all well and good, but also I understand that it can be somewhat confusing from the student's perspective to sort of understand what to do in a context of a course that is kind of as like flexible and chaotic as the kinds that I tend to teach. And that's something that I want to try to get a sort of handle on this semester and make sure that like as we are exploring all the different possibilities of education in the context of these technologies, that it still remains clear sort of what your job is and what my job is and sort of what the expectations are of you and how to make sure that no matter what else goes on with this course, that you will be able to sort of get across the finish line and complete your capstone in a way that makes you feel good and proud about the work that you've done. So basically, through all the chaos of this course, your job is going to be quite simply to do your project, work on your capstone, and just keep sort of keep in mind what your sort of tasks are and keep those rolling. And I will sort of manage like the broader context of that. And you will not be on your own. You will have assistance both from me and from basically an AI bot that will be tailored to assist you in your goals. Um, and if you ever find yourself feeling confused about what the jobs are and what the expectations are of you, you can ask me, and you can also ask the bot, because I will be, among other things. Yeah. So basically, just follow the recipe. And it is my job to ensure that if you perform the tasks that you are asked to perform, that you will complete the job of the course, and that you will wind up with a capstone project that you feel good about. There's an aspect of using AI for this course that has in the past and will in the future allowed for a much higher level of flexibility and personal customizability than is typically possible in a class. Basically, if it was, a year ago, and this was an online course and there was 20 some odd of you and one of me, there's a lot of constraints over how much flexibility and how much leeway I can really give any individual student, because there's just not enough of me to wrangle that much complexity. With the advent of AI, and particularly the way that this AI is going to be configured, it should be possible to allow for a much, much higher level of flexibility in how this class is running, because I can basically configure the bot to assist you in whatever project you choose to pursue, as long as it sort of is within the boundaries, the rough general boundary constraints of what the class is sort of structured around, which is like a big capstone project. And I want to really pursue that, because I find that I am excited about the possibility of letting education be more custom tailored to individuals, and less in the sort of production line model that we often wind up getting stuck in. So it might feel a little strange to sort of have this much flexibility and this much freedom, especially in the context of an undergraduate education where you're often told very explicitly what you're supposed to do and what the expectations are. But trust the process. This is where you kind of have to trust me that I do have a plan. And there's a very interesting theory of teaching that I heard not too long ago, that it is not actually the student's responsibility to learn so much as it is the teacher's responsibility to teach. And the idea is that, yeah, you have a responsibility to like engage with the material and all that, but mostly the agreement of a course, of a class like this, is that I am going to be giving you activities that you should do. And the agreement is that I am coming to you to say, if you do these activities, then you will have an educational experience and you will learn the things that you're supposed to learn in this course. So put the effort in, trust the process, and I will be doing my best to ensure that you are on path. And I will be, in order to manage the extreme constraints on my available emotional and physical energy, a lot of the effort that I'm going to be putting into teaching this class is going to go into the format of configuring the AI bot to act as a simulacrum of what it would be like if I did have the available time, energy, and emotional space to sit down with each one of you individually as much as you need me to in order to assist you in whatever it is that you're doing. I cannot actually do that, so I will create this machine who will do its best at simulating what that would be like if I could. In general, and I mean, in general, in life, I have like very little respect for the educational system as it's typically sort of borne out. Like the concept of like lectures, grades, tests, quizzes, degrees, I find pretty repugnant in general, and exceptionally so in the context of AI assisted education. Saying it right now, I think AI is going to be super important for education. It cannot and must not be used to evaluate student performance. It is a bias machine, and it's inescapably so. So I will not be using this bot or really many other methods to like evaluate whether or not you're a good student. I will not be attempting to rank order you in terms of who is the best and who is the worst. That's not education, and that's not certainly what I'm not doing here. So don't worry so much about your grade. Just if you check all the boxes, do all the assignments, complete the mechanics of what the Capstone Project is, you're going to be fine. You will know, and I will know, whether or not you did a good job. And you will know that far better than I will, because you will know at the end whether or not you learned anything, whether or not you got anything out of it, and whether or not you have pride in the work that you did and the outcome of it. And that pride that you feel or not is going to be the determinant of your success in this course. And that is an internal feeling. So good luck with that. Okay, I will do a brief tour of the Discord server just for those who need it. Where are we at? Clicking over here. Do I need to cover? No, I'm fine. So yeah, basically this is the server. Here on the left, these are all the channels. If you've never used Discord before, it's sort of it's like a chat server. It's similar to Slack. It was historically used for like gamers to interact with each other, and sort of exploded in the recent years, especially over the pandemic, as just a way to interact with people online in a sort of online asynchronous kind of way. So basically, each one of these things on the side is a text channel, and at the bottom here, there's messages that you can sort of type away at. These ones down here are voice channels. I'm going to click into it, and now I'm in a voice channel. If you find yourself in here and you don't know how to get out, which I've seen a couple people get stuck in here, this little hang up disconnect button at the bottom here is how you escape. So boop, there you go. Or if I come in and I just see you hanging out there, I'll just boot you on my own. Don't worry about it. So these things up here are called categories, and inside of a category are called channels. And we'll be talking more about those. We'll be talking about the sort of the way we're going to be wrangling different categories, different jobs we're going to be playing, but we'll get into that later. And the other one to think about, let's see, how can I do this without doxing anybody? I'm already doxing people down there. Well, sorry. I'll cover it up later. I'll cover it up in post, as they say. So the other guy to think of, the main guy to think about here is this guy right there, ClassBot V3, because this is the third iteration of ClassBot. This is ClassBot. He is, I guess didn't put the code in there. We're talking a lot more about him, including like the way that I programmed him and sort of who manages that and sort of like the nature of that particular beast. In the meantime, I think I'm going to call this video here, and I might clean this up before I post it. I might not. It sort of depends, again, on the available emotional energy. But welcome to the course. I'm glad that you're here. I hope we have a lot of fun together. And I will see you in the next video, which will be part B, where I'll talk about the assignments.